Hi, everyone. I'm Joel Baird, the General Manager of Missoula Community Access Television.
And I'm Kim Anderson. I'm on the board of MCAT, and I'm the Director of Programs and Grants for Humanities Montana. And we just saw that new
thanks to Scott and Neil here at
for
MCAT.
the first time.
They took our little drone out in the wind-spattered town, and they came up with that beautiful intro for us. So thank you.
It's great. You know what I want to do then? I want, when you go in down the MCAT driveway, I want it to be like Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, where then you and I can come in and take off our coats and put on our
Yeah, we got to change our shoes too.
Yeah, I know.
So maybe not. And didn't we promise the dear viewer that life would get better?
I
Over this
I think we said that 2 weeks ago.
brutal cabin feverish winter. We told you that the colorful shirts would come out.
He's faking it a little bit.
Yeah, well,
with the
it's not quite spring, but it's in the air. Yeah. So I only have a few MCAT things to tell you, dear viewer. One of which is spring break flicks is going on at MCAT right now. We have about 13 kids that are coming down through the week, and Scott, you could show them pictures to butter them up.
Look how adorable they are.
Yeah, so here they are from today, having a great old time here in the studio. And they're learning some stuff, like they're doing stop animation, of course. They're also taking a turn at our VR, and they're going to do some situational shows with the mixers and the audio and video equipment in the back.
All skills of the future.
Yeah, and I mention all of this because MCAT is also offering 4 summer camps this season for 2019. If you go on the website, which is mcat.org, there is a slideshow there, and one of them features both Neil, who's now 19, and Colin, and both of them have become MCAT workers.
See, they're gainfully employed.
They're gainfully employed 7 years later. So parents that have little faith in their children could turn a hand towards some occupational therapy. Here at MCAT, if you click at that picture, you'll see there are 2 animation camps. There's one called Time Travelers Camp that's held in conjunction with the Historical Museum of Fort Missoula.
I just love the
And so
idea
kids
of
are going to go out to the fort and select bold characters in Montana history. And the final camp is our time-honored zombie camp. And that's for somewhat older kids. So the first 3 choices are for kids age 9 to 13, negotiable. And then the last bloody choice, they seem to like it. What can we say?
PG-13.
At least. Is for kids 14 to 18. And all that information is on the website at mcat.org. Scholarships available. Call us 542-6228. And you said you had some stuff.
I just wanted to remind viewers again that while this year, as you know, Humanities Montana has been on a sabbatical with our larger grants, we do still have opportunity grants available. And if you have a public humanities project that might be helped with some funding, we have grants of up to $1,000. You should call Humanities Montana and ask for me, Kim Anderson, and I can tell you more about it.
Excellent. And then these opportunity grants, they could bring people in from the speakers panel?
No, that's totally
different.
We, you know, for our speakers bureau or to bring a speaker into the school, that's a totally easy application. It's not a grant. You just fill out a where, when, and how, and we send them to you. And
wonderful.
It's free.
So that's something to consider as well. So on to our first guest.
We have guests.
Andy is here. Joe is here. Welcome. Thank you so much for being on the show.
So
you're most welcome. So there's news from the Western Montana Community Center that serves the GLBTI community and anyone else. I've seen news of the clothing exchange, for instance, that's going on. Is that still going on?
One more weekend. So we've been having the it's not necessarily an exchange. People can drop off clothes or donate clothes, but it's just meant for people to come in and pick up free clothes if they would like.
Wonderful.
It's going on every weekend this March, and next weekend will be the last.
I got to bring some shoes. I got a shoe problem.
Don't we all?
Yeah, like I fall in love with these shoes, and then I realize, they're a little narrow, and I have like 3 or 4 in the box.
Take
So I'm
them
bringing
over
them.
there. Take them over.
That's right, in the old J.C. Penney building on
See,
the
I told you.
second story.
Yep.
Yeah.
Second floor.
Yeah, great.
And there's more news to come. So a big fundraising event for the center is the Black and White Ball.
Yeah.
What's going on with it?
Well, this is our 14th annual Black and White Ball, so getting up there, and it's also the 20th anniversary of the Western Montana Community
That's
Center.
a while.
So we're meeting up April 20th down at the Holiday Inn downtown, and it's going to run from 7 until 11, I believe. We'll have a silent auction, performers. Our theme this year is Strike a Pose, and so we're going to be honoring some of the queer people of color who started the 80s ballroom scene, and that's kind of our
Vogue,
theme
right?
this year.
Oh, that's
So that
wonderful.
should be neat, but a lot going on with that too. So.
Makes me think of that documentary Paris is
Yes,
Burning.
Paris
and I
is
recommend
Burning.
it to people watching if they've never seen it. It's just an amazing document of that ballroom society culture in New York, and also an incredibly insightful commentary, about class and race differences and so
Right.
on.
Right. And there's a new show on FX, Ryan Murphy produces,
Yes.
called Pose.
Pose.
Oh, okay.
It's good.
Excellent.
So the ball does it serve as a fundraiser for the organization or a
Silent
celebration?
auction.
It's our annual fundraiser,
Okay,
and it ensures that we keep the doors of the center open from year to year.
that's great.
And talk a little more about the center and its services too, because a lot of people may not know about it, because it is on the second floor and et cetera.
Yep, so the LGBTQ Center, Western Montana Community Center, like Joe said, we've been open for 20 years, and we're a open and affirming environment for people of all sexual orientations, gender identities, and our allies to have a safe space. Basically,
Right.
we're located right downtown, 127 North Higgins Avenue,
Old J.C. Penney building.
J.C. Penney building, right above the artist shop there, or hot yoga.
Yeah.
And we hold various groups that meet during the week. We have a gay men's night that meets on Wednesdays. We have a trans group that meets on Thursdays at 7. We have movie nights. We've got all sorts of wonderful things that happen. We
And the
showcase
clothing.
artist work.
The clothing opportunity and a website. So I didn't put that up. Scott, can you
He
do
just
it?
had it up.
Yes.
Did
Yeah.
he? Oh, okay, thank you. Sorry.
GayMontana.org is our website.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's easy.
To the point.
GayMontana.org.
Right.
Now, is it Montana all spelled out or MT?
Spelled out.
Spelled out. Gay
Yeah, you can
Montana.
see it. He's got that on
Oh,
the
there it
screen.
is, yes.
Thanks, Scott.
Okay.
And we're also on Facebook and Instagram.
Right.
Right.
And the tickets, did we mention the price and where to buy and
Right.
all that?
Yep, so you can get the tickets right on the website. They're $40 for a single, $60 for a couple, or $50 at the door.
Okay.
So get them early. And
Get them
bring a
early.
friend.
Yeah.
Yeah. And are you selling tables?
Yeah, I believe we are selling tables as well, and I'm not sure on the price of that off the top of my head.
Me neither.
But you can find out.
I just
online.
mentioned it because sometimes businesses, say, oh, let's do something
Right.
together.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're always looking for sponsors. So if you sponsor, depending on the amount, you'll get a certain number of tickets. I think our top level sponsor of like $2,500 gets a full table.
Okay.
I think that's the level.
And with your ticket, is there like appetizers and
Yeah.
or food or?
Yeah, we'll have hors d'oeuvres throughout the evening and snacks.
No host bar.
No host bar.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's going to be a drag show, so entertainment.
Oh, fun. And what kind of things in the silent auction?
Ooh, all sorts of stuff. We're going to have lots of artwork. We're going to have different coupons from different venues. A lot of different people are offering their services as far as food goes. So there's all sorts of things. Kind of runs the gamut.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the good things to look forward to in our silent auction is we get a lot of artwork from local artists that showcase their work throughout the year in the center
sure.
for our first Friday art shows.
Right.
And so a lot of them always donate their work.
That's great.
Excellent. So if people want to find out how to get tickets or they want to purchase tickets online, they go to the center's website, gaymontana.org, and should they call? The website's the best, but sometimes people have cable, but they don't have the internet, so it's not so easy. And there's a phone number, I'll bet. And what is it? Oh, sorry.
No one knows
It's like
phone numbers
543.
The
anymore.
website on my phone
Yeah.
just in case this happens.
Okay, but Scott could, he could do
406.
semi
There we go.
4.
543.
I knew that.
2224.
Oh, it's an easy one.
222.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's showing it to the people at home. He's wiggling his cursor.
And I tend to be the one that answers the phone, so ask for Andy and I can try to help you.
Oh, that's super.
Excellent.
So once again, the date is
April 20th.
April 20th. So you have a little time, but not too much.
Yeah, it's
Get
a
your
Saturday
tickets.
night.
Saturday
So the
night.
11 some of us can handle.
And yeah,
And staying
that's
up that
true.
late.
Even the oldsters.
Right.
And from what did you say? 7 to
7 to 11.
7 to 11.
To allow people in at 6:30, and then the doors to the event will open at 7. So
Oh, cool.
half an hour to get some drinks, check out
Right.
the silent auction.
Oh, what fun. Okay. And do people dress up?
We encourage people to dress
Right.
up. You
And
don't
the-
have to if that's
Is
not
the
your
theme
thing, but-
strike a pose? So is it an 80s type theme along with that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
And black and white?
Yeah, you could do that too. You could kind
Okay.
of mix and match.
Yeah, because it was known as a black and white ball.
I know.
So it had a tuxedo-y thing at one
Right.
time. But
Kind of like formal-ish, but dress however you want. We like color.
like formal
Yeah.
80s trash
80s
look.
trash, great.
And that
I
would
think
be
we
Formal,
can go on
though.
Overalls.
Would you guys
Yeah.
have your outfits figured out already?
No, I need to ask Joel about some shoes.
Yeah, really. We'll talk.
All right, well, it sounds like a fun
Those
time.
shoes. Yeah, I guess we better move
Yeah.
on. We are always accused of spending too much time with the first guests and snubbing the last. Like, oh, that's fascinating. Go. But thank you so much for taking the
Thank you.
time
Good luck with
to
everything.
be here. Yeah.
Good to be here.
So I guess we got some new PSAs. You're going to see one or
Oh, wow,
two,
good.
and we'll bring the next guest in right after this.
Hi, I'm Acting Secretary of the Army Patrick Murphy.
And I'm Nadia West, Surgeon General.
As we celebrate Women's History Month, we honor all women for their military and civil service.
Women continue to play a major role in shaping America's history, exemplifying our highest values as soldiers, DA civilians, and family members.
You know, women have proudly served the Army and our nation with distinction since our earliest days. We're currently in the longest wars in American history in Iraq and Afghanistan, where more than 1,000 women have been killed or injured in combat.
But we have made historic strides in 2015 with our first female Ranger School graduates.
And we can't forget you, General West, the Army Surgeon General, who's also the highest-ranking female West Point graduate ever.
Thank you, sir. And each of us succeeded, showing that women from all backgrounds and ranks are essential for a strong Army.
You know, they're role models for future generations like my own daughter and son. Thank you for your selfless service and support for our nation.
Queen is just my everything.
His smile did it. His smile, his eyes, his knowledge. My landlord, he decided that he wanted me to move based on the fact that I was transgender. Let's just respect people in everyday life for just being human.
Give me a big lecture. Oh, we're back. We're here with Hayden Groth. She is representing the Watson Children's Shelter. Thank you for being on the show.
Thanks for having me, you guys.
Yeah, you know it. So the big news for your fundraiser is the Bike for Shelter coming up in April,
Yeah,
right?
That's correct, our 19th annual event, so.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So tell us a little about it. Like, if people love biking,
Yes.
this is a great way to raise money for the Watson's Children's Shelter, but maybe you could tell people a little about what work you do.
Yeah, tell us about the shelter.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So Watson Children's Shelter has been around for 40 years. It started with Janice Watson in 1977.
Wow.
And we offer an emergency shelter for children, infant to 14 years old, that may have been removed from their home for abuse, neglect, sometimes just family crisis, and they need a place to go.
Yeah.
And we provide that safe place for them. And more recently, we just started a prevention program called Healthy Foundations.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, it's super cool. And we have 15 families that we're working with right now. And just, normal struggles of being a new parent. And sometimes people don't have the support systems that they may need. And
So
we
you
offer
step in
that.
earlier so that those poor kids don't have to face that option.
So we prevent
going
it
forward.
entirely. That's
Right.
the goal. If we can prevent it from ever happening to begin with, that is always the goal. So,
Yeah.
Yes.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
And there's that $750,000 grant the county got for the 0 to 5 about helping with child development, because so many people realize we don't, it doesn't make sense to us, I guess, when we're adults. But those ages, like 0 to 2, make such an extraordinary impression on the humans that we become.
Yeah, no, the effects are
It's
last forever.
extraordinary.
Yeah.
The bonding, or the atmosphere in the whole,
Attachment, everything.
Right.
all
Yes.
that stuff.
Yep,
Yeah.
absolutely.
How many kids can you serve with the shelter?
Yeah, so we serve 24 children at a time, and we are
Yeah.
full right now.
Yeah.
Everybody happens to be home for spring break today, so it's a lot of things you don't normally get to do on a day off. So haircuts and
Right.
visits with family members or social workers. and
Sure.
everybody was in the backyard playing when I left.
Oh, is that right?
That too, it's a little bit of everything. So yeah.
Oh, Scott's put up the banner for.
Yay.
No,
Yes.
it's actually May. Sorry, I misspoke when I said April. I was
No.
thinking of something else. So this is the 19th year.
Yes.
And can you explain to people how it works? Like, how does biking raise money for
Yeah.
the shelter?
So this event, most of our fundraising comes through sponsorship.
Yeah.
But the event itself is around awareness. And,
Right.
and in the past, we have charged registration. This year, though, we're really excited to share it's going to be free to the community.
Oh, wonderful.
And so and we're just hoping to get more people out there to learn more about what Watson does.
Yeah.
And there's a awesome bike ride. So we've got a 10-mile bike ride along the bike path, and then again onto Blue Mountain Road through Orchard Homes. So it's pretty flat. I don't think you need to be an experienced rider
Oh, yeah.
to go, but it's fun, and there's a ton of people, and you come back to a giant carnival, and there's a
Wow.
DJ, and there's laser tag, and there's a rock wall, and MRL has been our premier sponsor from the
Yeah.
beginning, and they are again this year.
So where is the end point?
Oh yeah, so you start and end at the lawn of Community Medical Center.
Oh, perfect.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Giant start and finish line, and it's just fun. I mean, all
It
the
sounds really fun.
yeah, and this year we've got Mannix Beef has donated beef for the barbecue.
All
It's fast
right.
finished, and that'll be good. Just little things this year that I think will be different than
Yeah,
what
yeah.
we've done in the past.
And so you want people to participate to raise awareness of the
Yes.
work Watson Children's
Yeah.
Shelter does.
And we just want to create a family-friendly event. This is for kids and for parents
Mm-hmm.
to come, and a lot of the new games that we have this year are geared so that parents can do the activities with their kids. So
Oh,
they can,
that's really
they can do
nice.
the rock wall, and they can play laser tag, and they can do the petting zoo. We've got a petting zoo
Yeah.
coming this year.
Oh,
so
wow.
it's just a family event, and just come hang out and sit on the grass after the bike ride. And
Yeah,
just-
by May 11th.
Yes.
Now, are there
Should be nice.
shortcuts? Like, if I brought a 7-year-old, you're like, we're going to bike
No, it's a great question.
10 miles.
Right.
So there's not a true shortcut. No true shortcut. But
Is
we
there,
do
like-
offer a shorter ride.
Oh, okay, that's excellent. Otherwise, I would just be driving behind Joel and I would
Yeah,
pick him
right.
up when he was tired.
I'm just thinking children might, depending on the
Yes.
heat of
Yeah.
the day or the cold of the day.
Yeah,
of
we're
course.
just thinking, you could do 10 miles and then realizing that it might have been a little bit more than you were ready
Right,
to
it
do.
was ambitious.
And that happens, yeah, a little ambitious. But we have a 2-mile fun loop that we offer as well.
Oh, perfect.
And that's around historic Fort Missoula. There's
Yeah.
a little loop there, and we call it the fun loop. And
Perfect.
it's parents and kids, little itty bitty kids do that as well. And so everybody gets to do a bike ride.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
really good. And then they get back sooner.
They
So that
do
all
get
the
back
stuff
sooner.
is fresh, for
Yes.
them.
The carnival starts at 10 a.m. and it goes
Oh.
until 1. And so you can do the bike ride and then just be there for the rest of the afternoon.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
When does it start that morning then? About
Yeah, so-
8 or
Yeah, registration opens at 8 a.m.
Right.
If you want to register the day of the event. You can register online right now as well. And then the 10-mile bike ride starts at 9:30.
Okay.
And then the 2-mile fun loop starts at 9:45.
And typically, like you've done it before, right? It's the 19th annual.
It's funny, I actually have never.
Oh, no kidding, because I was
I'm
going to ask you how
working.
long people...
You don't get to
I am
ride.
the person that organizes
Yeah.
everybody that day.
But when
so
do they seem to come back?
When? Oh.
You know,
it's
like how long does it take them?
About 11. It takes about an hour.
Yeah.
You
Okay.
know, 11, an hour and a half, you know. But everybody's normally back by 11 o'clock.
Yeah, I guess,
Yeah.
you know, I feel like I ride at like 10 miles an hour.
I think that's
clocked
fair.
it once.
Really?
Yeah, and I
I'm
wasn't...
impressed.
Well, actually, it's not that fast compared to a lot of other people.
I am on the same. I'm a cyclist as well, and
I'm
all
like
I
10
know
miles an
that-
hour.
Slow and steady, yeah.
I had like a bike like with a speedometer thing.
Oh, yeah.
Or you could put it on your phone
It's
or
all
something.
social, so there is not
Right.
a race.
This
is not a
race.
It is a social
Yeah.
ride. Go out there, take as long as you need to.
And again, I bet if we went onto the website, we'd see all of your great sponsors
That's
listed
correct.
there.
Yeah, if you go to watsonchildrenshelter.org.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and Scott's showing
yeah,
people.
Scott's got it there for us. Yeah, and if you go to special events and then click Bike for Shelter, you'll see a list of our sponsors. There's a little tab there at the very bottom. We've got our sponsors right there.
Oh, yeah, I see K-Pax,
Yeah.
Pepsi
And
is on there.
if Scott scrolls up a little bit even, each year we do an artwork contest.
Okay.
And we send it out to all the local elementary and middle schools, K through fifth grade. And they have an opportunity to submit an artwork of, every year we pick a new animal. This year it's a monkey
Yeah.
riding a bike. And this year was 4th grade, I think Brooke Jameson.
No
That's
kidding.
wonderful.
And that's what she drew, and it's going to be the artwork on all of our T-shirts and all of
Oh.
our medals that people get.
Can you imagine how exciting that would be if
Oh
you
my
were a
God.
kid and your art was
But
turned
it's
into a
really
t-shirt?
good.
They're so excited.
Oh, that's so cute.
Yes.
I mean, the way the monkey's body seems to reflect the same
Yeah.
kind of
Shape as
shape
the
of the bike
base.
It's
frame.
awesome. She did such a great job.
Yeah.
And her teacher even shared with me that she said when she drew this, she was like, I can't imagine a monkey sitting on a bike. Like, that wouldn't happen.
Right.
That
So
monkey
he's
is-
flying. Yeah.
Flying on the
air on the
bike.
bike, which is
Like a tree limb.
yeah, I thought it was great.
Well, it sounds like there's so many great things
Yeah,
to
it
take
really
part
does.
in.
And people get the T-shirt, or do they buy them?
No, everything is free. All you have to do
Wow.
is register online.
Wow.
You get there the morning of the event, and
Yeah.
you'll go to registration. You'll get your wristband that allows you to participate in all the activities.
Right.
You get your free lunch. You'll go get a free T-shirt, a raffle ticket for some really awesome family-themed baskets that we have,
Oh,
and then
man.
you are all set for the rest of the day. And
Nice.
we certainly do. You know, there's the option to make a donation if you
Sure,
like
I
to.
hope so, yeah.
Yeah. So if people would like to donate, we always encourage that.
Sure.
But it's just fun.
What a great day of
Yeah.
events.
Yeah, it is.
And by May, it'll be really great
We
weather.
sure hope so.
Green.
We hope so.
It will. It will.
Yeah.
May 11th,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
And registration begins at 8 a.m. that day.
Yep. Or
and
you
then
can do it online.
Do it
now.
online.
yeah, do it
Yeah.
right now.
Yes.
And Community Hospital lawn.
Yep, at the lawn of Community Medical Center. You can't miss it the morning of every
I'm
Yeah,
sure,
it'll be-
yeah,
You
it's
can't miss
big.
it.
Just heading on South Avenue, as we know. You know, towards Big Sky High School. Look over to the left.
Yes.
All right, I
Yes.
got it. I guess we better go. But Hayden, thank you so
Yeah,
much for
thank
taking
you
the
for having
time.
me, you guys.
You know it.
19 years, that's really impressive.
It is.
that
It
These
is.
events keep going on.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
So we'll be right back. We've still got a lot of guests, much to my surprise, on this beautiful spring Monday. You may be watching a repeat. We'll be right back after this public service announcement.
This is Bill. He just received his new Medicare card and is following some simple rules to protect himself from fraud. He knows to never give out his Medicare, Social Security, or bank number over the phone. And this is Nancy. She knows that to detect any problems, she always reads her Medicare Summary Notice or Medicare Advantage EOB to make sure the billing is correct. Both Bill and Nancy know that anything suspicious can be reported to Montana SMP at 1-800-551-3191.
Operation Wonder Park is a go! There's nothing more powerful than imagination. But don't just imagine. Use STEM to change the world. Who's with me?
It's gonna hurt tomorrow.
If she can STEM, so can you. Find out more at She Can STEM.
I surrender.
All right, pal. Get ready for the day, buddy.
Hey, Dad. Hey, Dad. Do we have a gun?
What's that?
Do we have a gun?
Saturday drop-ins.
No event, right? We're back.
Well, I guess we'll all find out together.
We're going to find out together. Welcome back. Eugene Smith is here with Bob Giordano. They're here to talk about bike ped issues. Welcome.
Thank you so much.
Nice to be here.
Yeah, so Gene, what do you want to talk about?
Well, I've been biking for about 6 decades.
Yeah.
And, I've done a cross-country ride. I did a lot of commuting in Chicago and New York City.
Yeah.
And made my way back to Montana. I met my wife here about 4 years ago plus. And we've been out of town for quite a while and spent some time in Hawaii. But I started getting involved in bike safety from a standpoint of maybe having a few close calls myself. And just studying traffic patterns and looking at things online and getting into some of the areas where you look at what different traffic planners are doing. So I became interested that way.
Yeah. And Bob, you've always been interested in alternative transportation and so on.
Not always.
Well, I guess,
I got to Missoula.
Right. Oh, interesting.
This town was inspiring and intriguing.
Yeah.
So easy to bike in.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of true, and it's famous, for the slant street. So sometimes you'll see aerial pictures of Missoula, and it will show the collapsing of the Higgins downtown against the road that goes out to the fort. And people say when developers argue or other memes like that. So we know there's a bike ped board. And Gene, you were talking in your email that you want more people to participate in the discussion.
Yeah, well, we're going to try to get things out, and this might be one of the venues in terms of issues that are up or things that we see as maybe being critical or want to change. And one of the things I wanted to kind of address today in the time we have is as spring comes and summer and there's more people on bikes on the road, from a standpoint of maybe a typical bicyclist, not necessarily somebody that's very new to bicycling, would like motorists to be aware of that they may not be aware of. And so the first thing on my list would be that if there's a bicycle out, especially if there's not a bike lane per se, there's a number of streets that don't have them, and usually because they're too narrow to fit a bicycle lane and a regular travel lane and parallel parking all in the same thing. So bicyclists statewide have a right to be in what's considered the traffic lane or car lane or travel lane because of that issue. A lot of motorists expect the bicyclist to be all the way over on the right side because that's what they've always heard, bikes all the way over on the right. The problem being that with the narrower lanes, if the bicyclist stays to the right, the invitation or temptation for the car is to just go barreling past without enough clearance. So these are lanes where to safely clear a bicyclist, they'll have to go at least partway into the next lane over, so that the bicyclists who are in the middle of the lane are not trying to be elitist or not trying to be, selfish or whatever other term you might use. They're simply saying to anybody who might be coming up behind them, you're going to need to leave this lane at least part way in order to safely get by me. The other thing that goes along with that, there are a lot of lanes that have a solid or double yellow line. And motorists feel that if they go over that line, it's illegal. And that, like going off a cliff, they will not do it. And they'll sit there and ride your back wheel and beep at you and yell at you, whatever. So, but right now the law is that for something as slow as a bicycle, a car is allowed to, or truck, is allowed to cross the double yellow line to safely pass a bicyclist as long as there's not obviously an unsafe situation of a vehicle coming the other way.
I didn't know that.
I didn't either.
Yeah.
Well, those lines are usually put up from a standpoint of a typical car, let's say going 30 in the 35 zone.
Right.
So a car wants to pass that car, they're going to take quite a bit of distance, only going 5 miles an hour faster than the slower car to get past them. With a bicycle going 10, 12 miles an hour, they get past them in like a fourth of the time and distance roughly that it is. So it's almost like having a quote-unquote, air quote, obstruction in the road. It's fine to go around it, or a farm tractor or anything else like that. You can cross that center line because the vehicle is so slow, you can get around so quickly, and you can check that there's nothing coming that's going to put you in trouble.
Good point. Bob, you have anything to add?
Well, I think Missoula's, I've been saying it for 20 years, on the verge of just becoming an amazing city for all modes of transportation. It's policy at the city level. There's a lot of organizations working on it. I've been doing it through Free Cycles and MIST for a long time. So I think what Gene's talking about is so critical that just everyone shares. But on the other hand, sometimes a big piece of metal, a car, can't safely share with a small, tiny piece of metal, a bike, and the people that are using those modes. So getting better bike lanes has always been important. In some cases, cycle tracks where you have a real separated bikeway. Gene and I were talking just before we came in that the city, it's great, has a greenway proposal to make some neighborhood streets more pleasant for walking and biking. And then, of course, we have the trail system. So there are options to move around Missoula, but the main streets is probably going to continue to be a point of conversation, even debate, of how do we make everyone feel safe on our streets.
Yeah, difficult choke points.
I mean, but the progress we've made, I think, is really heartening. But I know, even when we went to some of the downtown, envisioning the next 20 years, all those meetings with consultants from all over the country, coexisting safely, bicycles, pedestrians, and cars. Was always one of the first topics of conversation. I think people are so much more conscious.
Yeah, and when you get these consultants that come in, they'll say, great, you've got a good beginning of a system, but they focus right in on those big gaps, the hip strip, Higgins Bridge, it's too narrow, Broadway, downtown, in the heart of our city, it's not a good place to be on a bike. So they had some great photo renderings of going from 4 lanes to 3 for cars, having some cycle tracks or buffered bike lanes. So that's going to be exciting to see that downtown plan really unfold.
That's what I was going to say, Kim and Bob and Gene. That, to me as a cyclist, there are always those choke points, like the hip strip where you come off of the Higgins Bridge. Here's 3rd Street with its wacky triangle, right? Your cars are coming in, but then they may turn right on you. And then, because parking is so important, you have that narrow business where there's 2 lanes, the roadway is like ridged, as though it's throwing you into the car doors that could be opened at any moment. So you have like these blissful periods where you feel like, wow, this whole thing is working, and then you have moments of terror and anxiety, not unlike how people describe combat and things like that.
We need to remove those places of terror. That's, one of those can negate 99% of the joy.
But sometimes you have that terrific co-joining, of the store owners and their desire to have parking right in the front. And the hip strip's been an extraordinary amount of controversy over that very issue, and I'm sure Broadway would be the same. Where they say, I am so worried about being in business. If you take parking away from me, I will jump off the bridge or what have you. This is serious business. And so that's always going to be, because we're trying to retrofit, right, for multi-mode. It's a retrofit, and that's never easy.
And ideally, we don't even move the curbs, but we can do different paintings. The artist really should be in charge of our transportation.
There you go.
Or maybe you should be in charge.
Are you going to draw us something, Gene?
Yeah, Gene has got a dry erase here. We can't zoom in. A child has broken our technology only moments earlier. But feel free.
One of the things is, I sometimes use a term that when we talk about infrastructure, that sometimes you say every wonderful silver lining, like a bike lane, for example, has a little bit of dark cloud. And one of the things that happens, and I don't know if you can pick this up or not, but if this is a northbound street, you've got 2 lanes here, so you've got traffic coming up here, you've got traffic coming up here, and now you say, okay, well here's the side street over here, so you're going to have make this a right turn lane. So you're going to say, okay, you can do this. And this traffic is going through. Everything's fine. Or you might say, well, this is a right turn optional lane, and traffic can come through this way. and this traffic can keep coming. But one thing you will never see, and I think most people would see why, is you'll never have 2 lanes going in this direction and a cross street here, and having this also being a right turn optional lane.
Right.
Yes.
This makes no sense whatsoever. Somebody driving here in a little smart car or Prius doesn't want to have to worry about somebody driving a semi-truck making a right turn across.
Right.
Well, this is what happens at every bike lane.
Yeah.
If this is the bike lane, this is what every bicyclist has to take into consideration when they get
Yeah, that someone behind you too might be turning.
I did the little dance going over the Higgins Bridge. I was in a car and there was a bicyclist next to me, and I wanted to get into the right-hand right turn lane on Front Street, but I had to be aware that there was a bicyclist there, and I slowed down so the bicyclist could go forward. You just have to pay attention.
In a retro way, sometimes the situation is nearly impossible, like the intersection of Van Buren and Broadway, which made me think, because there are 2 left-hand turning lanes to go over the Madison Street Bridge, and people are not so used to that. But a number of people built that bridge over the Rattlesnake Creek to send rattlesnakers over to the Eastgate Shopping Center exchange right by the pedestrian bridge to University. So one idea is you've got a hotspot intersection, take all of the non-vehicular traffic you can anyway. And bicycles, it was easy to send them. Pedestrians, not so much. So there's a tremendous problem. Or we saw the solution of Reserve and 93, though it's had a lot of detractors saying there's $1 million overhead pass over Reserve Street. Oh, it's not used enough, and so on. So.
What are lives worth?
Yeah, really. There've been a lot of accidents.
You know, and I keep
there.
hearing, I heard people say that when it was first unveiled, and it is a very impressive structure.
Yeah.
Every time I'm on Reserve, I see people up there. It is used all the time.
Yeah.
And it's
Hey,
part
one
of
our iconic structures, like the X's. That
Right.
on the side of town, you've got sort of our version of the Sydney Harbor Bridge.
Yeah,
There
you can
go.
see it from quite a
And
way.
also it connects to that pathway that now goes all the way nearly to Idaho. So it seems really important in some respects. And sometimes things are symbolic, right? We know there's a lifespan to the combustion engine, to the notion of, oh yeah, we better watch the time.
Time's ticking on that lifespan.
Yeah, really. And I know we could talk about this till the cows come home. Gene, did you want to encourage people to check out the bike ped board, or you're
Well,
like,
I think
I don't
everybody
check
that has something with, we always welcome, especially Bob, he's a great civilian person coming in, invite people to come in and pose a question or make a comment. And when we have our meetings, it's the first Tuesday of every month at the Chamber City College.
140 West Pine.
Yes, and they're always, after introductions, they're always the first people that get to speak and address the board. Anybody who has a question or, more importantly, an issue, an area where they figure, I like the bike here, but it's really not safe, bring it to our attention. We may not have recognized it before. That type of thing is always welcome. Or traffic issues where people are, always, although that should be going to the police department, I guess, where people are just flying through a right turn on red without really stopping, et cetera.
Right. Well, the snow is melting. Bikes are getting out
it's
there.
timely. I'm really glad that you came today.
Yeah.
Because, like other timely things happen in the fall, where the light gets darker sooner and school starts, there's a lot of concern, like there's a conjunction of two unusual things. Suddenly streets are crowded with school children and the light is constricting.
Right.
And I know that dusk and dawn can be the most dangerous, et cetera, so that's a concern. But this is new too. A lot of people are taking to the streets, so that
and there still is some nasty snow out there.
Yeah.
So be careful, pay attention to the people around you.
That drivers just need a reminder. Cyclists also need reminders on both sides that there are rules of the road. And I'm so glad you brought up that one, about passing.
Yeah.
That people need to feel comfortable and educated about. So I appreciate it. And certainly would welcome you back. And we can do a longer show. as I mentioned,
Sounds fun.
we could do like an hour. I mean, I could talk about this
fascinating
forever.
road facts.
Of road stuff and road possibilities, you know, like the
better.
one-ways.
Okay.
Road possibilities, street, city possibilities.
Right, is 5th and 6th going to be one lane in certain
One travel
points?
Yeah.
lane with a big buffer.
That'll
bike
be a
lane.
huge improvement,
Yeah,
don't
because
you
people that
think?
live between Russell and Orange have said, and I know I can be guilty of it, it's so wide, and I look down, I'm like doing 38.
Joel.
Driving an anonymous vehicle. Or something, people just respond to lack of obstruction by accelerating.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's
Biggest
one of the
danger
tricks,
for the
right?
Pedestrians crossing.
Oh my
is
gosh,
when you
yeah.
have two cars driving parallel, and the first car stops, and the second car doesn't have an
Right.
idea.
Oh,
where
that's
it's
so
going,
awful.
And they go through. And
Yeah.
Like Orange
Pedestrian
and
gets
Spruce, I mean by the church.
Yeah.
Not Spruce, but the other one.
Pine.
Thank you.
Yeah, that one.
So many times I've seen one car stop, and then the pedestrian's like, "Oh, thank you very much," completely hitting themselves, and then the person coming up like, "I wonder why they're you know, that's horrible."
Sight lines are critical
Yeah.
Yeah.
for traffic safety.
And I've seen, well, see, we could talk
We've
about this.
gotta
So
go.
we gotta go, but like they've improved the Bitterroot spur.
You guys would talk all day.
By putting those flashing lights up, you know, so on 5th and 6th and 4th, you can press a button,
Yeah.
and it really says someone's in the
That helps, I love
crosswalk.
it.
And I think that needs to be on Pine in Orange.
right.
Really, any 4-lane.
Yeah.
We
should
gotta
go to a
stop. I'm so sorry.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much for being here. And as I mentioned, Gino, you know I could talk for an hour about this. So we better bring out our next guests. I apologize, dear viewer, for how excited we got.
Pay attention to cyclists and pedestrians and the
Yes.
people around you.
Yeah, we'll be right back.
Saturday Drop-Ins return for their 3rd year of stop animation and media fun. Every Saturday from 1 to 5 p.m., your kid can work with Legos, play, and more to make their characters come to life. Animation isn't the only reason to stop in. Hi! Your kids can experience media through editing, voiceover, and short films. Games and activities to keep your kids busy all Saturday afternoon, starting September.
You like it?
You can't sit here.
Don't add her to the chain.
It was just a joke.
We're not friends.
Why are you talking to me?
He started it.
She's so gross.
Lame. Loser.
Weirdo.
I've said and done things before that I'm not proud of.
Just as I've been hurt by others.
The thing is, this is not who I am. And it's definitely not who I want to be.
I don't want to be cruel. I don't want to spread gossip.
I don't want to be a body shamer.
I don't want to exclude anyone.
I don't want to make anyone feel lonely.
Left out.
Hurt. We have the power to be more.
We can create a kinder world.
It's not that hard.
We just need to stop.
Take a moment and consider others before we speak.
And before we act.
Be more.
Be more.
Be more.
And we are back with Erica and Susan. Welcome. This started because I saw Erica on Facebook. You said that people that had worked at the Missoula Independent were working to create like an online information source. And I was like, this is fascinating. You have to be on my show. So take it from there, because my memory isn't what it used to be.
Well, we we actually have been talking a lot about, because the Independent was shut down
Right.
in September last year, talking about what sort of thing we could do to fill that space with independent journalism. And so one of the things we've been talking about is actually not online, but print, because that's what people are asking for.
Interesting.
So we've been talking a lot about that lately. But today is in particular, we just took some action, and I'll have Susan explain what we just did today.
What did you do today? Come on.
We've been working with some great students from Professor Lee Banville's audience engagement class at the University of Montana School of Journalism, and they've helped us put together a survey that went out today. And it's basically asking people in Missoula what they miss about the Independent, what they want to see in an independent news source, and how much they'd be willing to put up to support that.
Right.
So
Excellent.
we'll let that survey run through April 9th, and people can find that at MSO Journalism on Twitter or Facebook if they want to answer it.
Oh, wow, I want to. So how do I find it on Facebook?
MSO Journalism is
So MSO space journalism, or
all together.
one string?
Yeah, and that's our
Okay.
handle on Facebook and on Twitter. And our email address is missoulajournalism@gmail.com.
Okay. Scott, can you find MSO? Oh, he did.
Yeah.
So he's going to show people at home, and he's written contact them.
Right.
So that's good. And so you do mean for a print operation, and I presumed it was online because the overhead would be smaller. Or I presumed the overhead would be smaller. I don't know.
That's true, but it's true. People may not support that
Poor
in the
Kim,
same way
sorry.
So
that they
sorry.
would support a print publication.
Yeah. And would you then sell copies of what you made, and it would be like longer stories, like those feature stories like you, Erica, did about MCAT?
Right, that I did, yeah. Well, yeah, we'd like to continue doing a lot of what we had done before, which was some in-depth long-form stories, some of which would be investigative and some of which would be more arts kind of oriented or community stories. And a lot of arts coverage, which is what we've been hearing people are missing.
People love the indie.
Yeah, that's right. And the arts coverage is something I think
there we
people
go.
are missing.
There's the
Potential reader survey. Oh, I want to do that.
there's been so much in the media and in people's living rooms, conversations about an evolving business model for journalism, whether it's there's some nonprofit groups that have formed to fund investigative journalism or other aspects of it. And the people I talk to, and as you know, Erica, Humanities Montana has been doing a whole series of programming about the importance of independent journalism in democracy. But what has impressed me is how engaged and invested people are in this question. People really want that. People are, I think, trying to figure out or are resisting a little understanding that good facts aren't free. That it costs money to do these things, and that's where I think we're at a real we're in flux, and the Independent got caught in that to some extent, but everyone I know relies on what ultimately has a source that was paid for if it's real stuff.
Absolutely.
So it's thrilling to learn that. What?
Meaning through subscriptions or purchasing
you have to pay
the
a reporter.
document.
Yeah. You have to pay for paper. You have to, those things cost. And so if it is actually reported news, somebody reported it, and that person needs to be paid.
Yeah.
So your hope would be to resurrect a similar publication, like a free weekly or something along those lines?
Yeah, along those lines, but with a different model in that we would like to do membership drives so that so we are trying to find ways to have people get used to the idea of paying for their news, and that would be one way. So you could do a couple dollars or $5 a month, $10 a month, and that would be one way that people could help support that. So we're looking at things that we didn't do before at the Independent that maybe we could do now that would help.
Right. Have you talked to Martin Kitson in the Missoula Current? Because he has that online Missoula Current.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, his is definitely a different model than what we're doing because it's the online. And so our specific,
that's right.
Our specific kind of problem and quest is in this print sort of idea, and I think our tone is a lot different than the Current too. So we're kind of looking at something that's different, you know, that wouldn't be at all. Duplicating what.
No, I just thought of the model,
Yeah,
you know, here's an individual making kind of like a news outlet based on a subscription model.
Yeah.
And I do $10 a month.
Yeah.
So
Right.
it came to mind when you said a certain amount a month.
It's going on all over the state, you know. There was Last Best News, there were, all over the country.
There's a lot of interesting models out there right now.
Yeah.
Good.
So,
And we know there's a lack. We
If Missoula subscribed, it still wouldn't make up for
Yeah.
the lack of advertising income. So
Right.
that is still by far
right.
the
One of our
most
most important,
aspect of it would
Yeah.
be business support,
Right.
foundation support, you know, larger community support.
Knight Foundation comes to mind.
You know, the kind of funding that those foundations do is very rarely directed at individual local publications.
Oh.
There's not a lot of big nonprofit money out there for, you know, operational costs.
Right.
They're looking at big picture issues.
Yeah.
So we're really relying on the community here and the businesses here.
We want people to see, you know, advertising in something like this is a proposition that, you know, that benefits their community. You know, it's not it's not just important to.
No, it's the same concept as buy local, right? I mean, you know, you want to buy grow vegetables that were grown here, and you want news that was reported from here by Missoulians, then you need to advertise. So the first step we can all do to help is to go online and take the survey, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. It helps us know what people miss the most, what they value the most.
And then if we fill out the survey and give a contact email address, will we be kept in the loop about things as they happen?
You will go straight on our mailing list.
Okay, good. Yeah.
Actually, I'm doing it. Is it
I'm
only,
sure we will.
Is it only Facebook accessible
No,
right now?
it's a link to a Google form. So the link is, you find the link on Facebook or on Twitter, but it's public. You don't have to be signed into anything. You can take the survey anonymously if you like.
Yeah. Well, I'd encourage people to do so.
Oh, do it. Surveys are always fun. And we are just so glad that you guys are still looking for the way, for the solution.
Oh my gosh, my heart went out to everyone.
I know.
It did so much.
You know what? We have
I know.
Carolyn and we have 6 minutes.
All right. But do feel free to come back
Come
again.
back. Let us know what's going
you just
on.
contact me and say, hey, there's a new development or we have a new push.
Yeah.
Or just as I said to Jean, I'm feeling the rush. So if you want to do like a half-hour show just on this subject, something
that'd
like
be a good
that,
idea.
Wonderful.
it's fine with me.
All
You know,
right.
we do this show every other Monday and not in the summer.
Right.
So there's plenty of time to do a longer show.
That would be great. Thank you
Good
so
luck
much.
with
Yeah,
everything.
thanks for being here.
Yeah.
We're going to be right back. Carolyn Patterson is here to talk about Missoula Writing Collaborative.
Teeny tiny short PSA.
Don't go away.
Welcome to another edition of the Montana Department of Transportation's How to Drive a Roundabout. We all know what to do at a traffic signal. Red means stop. Green means go. But when we come to a roundabout, we're often unfamiliar with what to do next. Whoa, cowboy, wrong way. Here are the tips on how to properly drive on a roundabout. First, slow down when approaching a roundabout. Second, yield to traffic in the roundabout. Vehicles in the roundabout have the right of way. Now you're getting it. Third, do not stop within the circular portion of the roundabout. That's no place to stop. Fourth, signal your turn and exit the roundabout at the appropriate point. Following these instructions, you'll have no problem navigating the new roundabouts popping up all around Montana.
Hey, let's check out this park. Oh, wow, that's really cool. To find a great local park or forest near you, go to discovertheforest.org.
We cut out it. Here we are,
We
we're
are
back.
Caroline Patterson is here representing Missoula Riding Collaborative. Welcome. Thanks for waiting.
Thank you for coming to see us again.
Yeah, we'll keep our eye on the time. Scott will make gestures. So April is National Poetry Month.
It is.
Yes.
And we have a lot of things going on in Missoula with the Missoula Writing Collaborative. We have poetry going on at the library, and that's what I've given you the flyer for.
Yeah, this is great.
We have poetry activities with young kids, and we also have, I'm teaching a haibun workshop for parents and kids, and it's a really fun way to write about a trip for parents and kids. It's a combination of a haiku and like a more narrative kind of poem, and that's one activity. But we also have kids going on, we have something going on every week of poetry
In April for National Poetry Month.
So we have 2 films at the Roxy. We have A Quiet Passion, the film about Emily Dickinson, and we also have something called The Source, which is a documentary about the beat poets.
Oh, I want to see that.
Yeah, it's really neat. It's that's going to be the first week. Then we also have poetry ice cream at the Big Dipper.
Now you're talking.
And one is called the Raven, which is like
Never
espresso
more.
ice cream and chocolate. And then there's another called the Robert Frosted Flakes.
Oh,
that's really good.
And that's going to be the week of the 15th. So it's tax, turning in your tax.
You deserve
day.
ice cream, no matter what.
Yeah, so that whole week.
Right.
So the kids are going to be reading on Pea Green Boat, and then on, I believe it's the 23rd at the library.
Yes, you're right.
we're
I got the
gonna
cheat sheet.
have Poetry of protest. So a lot of our readers are going to read either poems of their own, poetry of protest, or they can select any poem they'd like to read at the library. So poets like Mark Gibbons, Cheryl Melfi,
Robert Lee.
I'll probably read something.
Yes, your name's on the bill.
And then some of the kids from Erie Big Sky are going to join us.
Oh, that's so wonderful.
Really
yeah,
fun.
to get them involved. Now, we're getting the 2-minute warning, but all of these events are listed on your website that we just saw?
Yes, we're putting together a calendar.
Excellent.
They'll all be listed on our website and on our Facebook, and we're going to put up flyers around town. So the flyers will be at the Missoula Public Library, but our website will be a good
And if
source
people
of
have questions, I can send you an email or on Facebook or...
Absolutely, or call me.
Call.
Yeah, and we should mention, can you tell people a little bit, the elevator story of Missoula Writing Collaborative?
Yeah. So the Missoula Writing Collaborative is 25 years old this year.
Wow, congratulations.
And we're an organization that puts writers in the schools to teach poetry to kids. We're in 31 schools in western Montana. We teach about 2,000 kids a year how to write form poetry and free verse.
When's your birthday party for the 25th?
Well, next fall. We're
Okay.
doing something.
Okay.
So it should be fun.
Yeah. Oh, you have to come back then. And I was going to say, if you wanted MCAT to record the dissenting voices,
that
just fill
would
out
be
a
a
form
good
online.
idea.
But it might be a wonderful way of, well, I hate to say it, but preserving the people for posterity. That they're giving a reading and so on, and 100 years from now,
anything you would
people
like
would be
recorded it on the channel. Okay, I should send it out.
I guess we better go.
So
Geez,
Missoula Writing
sorry.
Collaborative Poetry Month is April. Go on their website to find out all the events they're doing. It's going to be a busy month for you. Oh, yeah.
It's fun. It's the cruelest month. You gotta sing in your chains like the sea, as Dylan Thomas would say. And we must sing for our supper, so we're going to leave you, dear viewer. We'll be back in 2 weeks.
Yes, yes.
For MCAT, I'm Joel Baird.
And I'm Kim Anderson.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.